Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom!
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Quiz, hotshot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Drop it. Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Hello and welcome back to the Monday Movie Show, to our DVD and Blu-ray section. Coming up in this show we have the UK DVD and Blu-ray top 10 as well as reviews of these movies.
Yeah, James Bond is back in Skyfall. You have comedy film Hit and Run. You have British thriller movie Tower Block, and I think it's a drama thriller of sorts, isn't it? All Good Things.
Yes, it is. Although it might do better as a sort of a sleeping aid.
Yeah, and this week's TV movie of the week is Hot Shots.
So before that, though, let's get straight into the DVD and Blu-ray top 10, starting at number 10 with Resident Evil Retribution.
Yeah, hopefully the last week it's in the top 10, so it's the last week when we have to comment on it. The fact that it's a series that went stale one movie ago. It should be a movie. It should have been a series that should have ended as a trilogy rather than 5 films and a 6th film.
No. I should have ended. It should have ended as a saga. I like the 4th one.
No, I think it should have ended as the 3rd one. And I'm commenting on these, so leave me alone. Yeah, it's not very good at all, and I'm a Resident Evil fan.
Number 9 is the Sinister Insidious double pack.
Yeah, I'll not comment on Insidious. Well, Sinister. Sinister, yeah, Sinister. Sinister's later on.
Insidious? No,
yeah. I'll not comment on Sinister because that's a little bit later on. Insidious is it's James Wan and Lee Winnell who were responsible for the first Saw film. It's actually not a bad film, Insidious. There's a sequel coming out, I think later this year, early next year, which they're working on at the moment. It's a bit weird because it has a Darth Maul-esque kind of character in the film. And it has a few comic elements from Lee Winnell, who always appears in his movies that he directs. But they do show that they can direct kind of scary movies. And Insidious itself is a good film. And the only reason why it's in at number 9 is because Asda is selling it. When you buy Sinister, you get Insidious for free.
At number 8 is Sweeney.
Which is not a bad British gangster movie of sorts, thriller one. It's based on a TV series. It works much better, I think, as a TV movie rather than as a standalone movie. For the budget that the director has got, he's done a really good job of it. There is some really interesting set pieces in it, and Ray Winston is Ray Winston. He's a bit like Danny Dyer. Sorry, US Danny Dyer fan. Ray Winston is one of those actors who only seems to play himself now. He can't play any other character apart from himself. So, yeah, he's okay. And Ben Drew shows that he's not a bad actor, but he said to himself that he's not even going to act anymore, which is an interesting thing to do. But it's okay.
Number 7 is Anna Karenina,
which me and Andy have not seen. We can't comment on Anna Karenina apart from the fact that it's got Keira Knightley in it, I think it is.
Yes, and Aaron Johnson.
Yeah, it's the umpteenth movie adaptation of Anna Karenina, and by the looks of it, it looks opulent and it looks beautiful to look at. But from what I've heard, it's more about style than substance.
And number 6 is The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I don't believe you've seen yet, have you?
Nope.
No. It's an adaptation of a book of the same title with a sort of a teenage boy who's entering into his years of high school, his last year of high school, and he's the outsider, and he gets brought into a group who recognise that he doesn't really have any friends. It's quite a good film for the first sort of half of it, but then it has problems as it goes on for the rest of it. It's one of these films that I think younger audiences will get more from it than anyone who is sort of 30, 35 plus, where I think it becomes less of a personal experience movie. And number 5 is Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah, it's not a bad kiddies animated horror film of sorts. It's like I said last week, it reminded me a lot more of the 80s animated kids series called Groovy Ghoulies. It was we keep seeing a part of a trilogy of kiddie-friendly horror films This was the most friendly out of them all. There is a decent amount of jokes in it for adults. There's a decent amount of jokes in it for kids, and it's quite well animated. And it's Adam Sandler's best film for quite a while because he's only doing a voice in it and he's not actually starring in it.
And number 4 is Looper.
We've said too much about Looper. We both like the film itself. It's a really intelligent science fiction drama movie. It's acted really well by all the actors in the film, and what more can we say about it?
Number 3 is the film which is also at number 9, Sinister. Sorry, yes, number 9, Sinister.
Yeah, Sinister is Ethan Hawke. He's sort of come back a little bit with this movie. He's given a chance, and for the first 45 minutes of it works pretty well. It's bogged down with the fact that it doesn't know where it wants to go with the last part of the film, and it loses its scares that it tries to build up in the first 45 minutes. So it's not bad for about a third of the film, maybe it's even a half of the film. It just loses its way in the last little bit.
Dalek6 is in the chat. He's actually saying the word you were trying to look for, and he's dared me to pronounce it, triumvirate, which I believe is the right way to pronounce it, because I know the word. I wasn't the one saying it. But going back to the top 10, number 2 is Taken 2.
Yeah, Taken 2 is just boring. It's rubbish. It's just Liam Neeson. Yeah, no, he doesn't need to take 2. You need to take 2 paracetamols after watching it because it'll give you a headache on how mind-numbingly boring it is. It's just, it's like we said, it's the biggest cash cow of 2012. And I don't know why it did so well. People must just be brain dead out there and wanted to see a film this bad.
Although I'm glad there's more. I'd say if you have to see it at the cinema or see it on DVD, see the DVD at least, you get the uncut version. Number 1, the top film for the UK and DVD Blu-ray is Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted.
I'm not singing the song. I refuse to sing the song.
I'm not going. I'm going that far. That's it.
Yeah, it's the best Madagascar film.
Why do I feel so dirty now? Ugh.
It's brilliantly animated. It's really funny. It's just such an enjoyable movie, and it didn't have the right to be a really enjoyable movie, considering how like the last Madagascar film wasn't that good at all, and it just didn't have the right to be this good. And it's really rare that you get a third film in a series to be the best in the series, and so this is the best one out of all of the Madagascars. Let's just hope that it hasn't peaked too soon, and if there is going to be a fourth one, which I'm probably guessing there will be, that it doesn't end up being rubbish like the second one.
I'm just going to comment as well. Dalek6 commenting in chat again. He's saying, can I just say I was listening to Monday Movie Show and following the nerds talking about Taken for 3 weeks before I realised they weren't talking about the game Tekken.
Or the movie Tekken.
Or the movie possibly, yeah. Which is also awful, horrible film as well. That's it for the first half of this, though. We're going to play a quick ad now, and we'll be back afterwards with our first of our reviews.
Right, advert. What do I need to say in an advert? Well, I need to say that we're the Gamescast. I need to say that we're on Twitter at the Gamescast. I need to say we're on Facebook. I need to say we've got a website, thegamescast.com, and I need to say we're on YouTube. Oh yeah, and we're on this thing called Spreaker.com. Don't know where that came from. What else? That's probably it. Right, better record it. Oh, crap. That was 30 seconds. The Gamescast. Grown-up gamers talking about games. Allegedly.
So that is the Gamescast, who are live on Friday nights at 9 o'clock, also found on Spreaker. So let's go on with our first of our DVD and Blu-ray reviews for this week, shall we?
Yeah, because the live chat is sort of like distracting me with talk of the Tekken film. Well, there's actually a live-action one and an animated film. They're both
I've seen the live-action one, and it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, the live-action one is pretty dire. The animated one is pretty dire as well. The reason why I'm sort of like waffling on is because we've got Skyfall to review. I think everybody knows the story of Skyfall. It did so well at the box office. I think it took over $1 billion at the worldwide box office as well. So it did so well, and it's been...
I'm going to check on that for you while you're reviewing it.
Yeah, it's been so long in the UK box office. It went past the £100 million mark, and it's the first ever film to do that, beating Avatar as the highest grossing film of all time at the UK box office. But I have to do my job, and I have to review the film. So the basic premise of it is the opening scene of Skyfall is the typical Bond thing. You've got the big, huge, massive set piece where he needs to chase after somebody. He then, somebody is told to shoot, take a shot. She misses. She ends up catching Bond instead, and he disappears for a few months. And then you get the opening, typical James Bond opening credits kind of thing, the montage-esque, etc. And so that plays out, and you discover that there's somebody has hacked into the systems of the CIA, the MI6 actually. I actually corrected myself there, realising my mistake, considering I've got it written down. Yeah, being able to manage to hack into the systems there and being able to retrieve some important information, causing... So, like, I was going to use the word hecticness, but it's not a word. Causing uproar in the place itself, because these lists that this person have managed to get hold of shows a lot of important people across the globe, and has managed to get hold of the list, and people's information is going to be posted on YouTube, even though they don't want to mention the name YouTube. It's shown in the film anyway, when you see the names of the people who come up on the screen. Every single week, 5 people are going to be released in that. And so, lo and behold, they really do need James Bond's help, because he's the only person who can help him out and try and stop that. And he's not even in a fit state anymore to do his job. He has to go through basic training, and then he meets up with Ben Whishaw, who plays M in the film. Here's a clip.
Always makes me feel a little melancholy. A grand old warship being ignominiously hauled away for scrap. The inevitability of time, don't you think? What do you see?
A bloody big ship. Excuse me.
007. I'm your new quartermaster.
You must be joking.
Why, because I'm not wearing a lab coat?
Because you still have spots.
My complexion is hardly relevant.
Well, your competence is.
Age is no guarantee of efficiency.
And youth is no guarantee of innovation.
I'll hazard I can do more damage on my laptop sitting in my pyjamas before my first cup of Earl Grey than you can do in a year in the field.
Oh, so why do you need me?
Every now and then a trigger has to be pulled.
Or not pulled. It's hard to know which in your pyjamas. Q.
007.
You realised pretty quickly then, didn't you? You realised as soon as you'd said it, you're just like, no, that's wrong.
Yeah, I knew somebody would say something in the chat. It was a test. That's what I'm putting it down to. Yeah. It was a test. Yeah, Ben Whishaw plays Q in the film. And, Bond is told by M, played by Judi Dench, that he has to try and hunt down this person who's got hold of all this important information. He ends up going to Shanghai, where there's an interesting set piece there. It's nicely shot, the set piece. When he ends up meeting this person who's stolen the list, it's played by Javier Bardem, who plays Silva in the film. And I'm not giving too much away, considering that everybody should know the Bond movies, but I'm going to stop there. Silva ends up causing a lot of trouble, let's just say. I watched this the second time, and now I'm not the biggest Bond fan, and this is the first time I've ever watched a James Bond film more than once for quite a while. I can't even remember the last James Bond film I've seen twice, all the way through. And so I watched Skyfall for the second time. Like I said, for the first time, I just thought it was an average film. There was elements of the movie which worked, specifically in my eyes, the cinematography. I think the cinematography is fantastic. It's just I thought it was a bit average of a movie. The second time I watched it, I was more bored the second time than I was the first time. It's probably down to the fact that I am not that much of a James Bond fan. And if you're not much of a James Bond fan, this is not going to change your mind about the movie. I am sick, though, of reading reviews saying this is the best Bond film ever, etc. 5 stars, 10 out of 10. Yeah, don't get too carried away, because they're not seeing past all the fact that it is James Bond. They're not seeing the negativity about this movie, and it's just, it seems to drag on quite a bit, and the set pieces aren't really well done, in my opinion. The cinematography is the thing that stands out about this movie. It's brilliant. Especially the second time. I was noticing much more nuances the second time than I did the first time with the cinematography. So that's brilliant. There's an interesting scene which involves a train coming through, and I sent a message to Andy on Twitter saying, have you noticed, if you look at the train that crashed through the tunnel, that there isn't a single passenger on it, yet this is supposed to be the busiest time of the day. It's rush hour. And you've seen that just like moments before when he's chasing after Silver. The fact that the whole train station is full of people, and the trains that they've been on is full of people, yet this train has nobody on it. It was just a little interesting thing that I spotted, and it's just made. I was probably bored of the film anyway, and so I was trying to spot little things.
I think I was nitpicking a bit.
Yeah, well, I was bored of the movie. Honestly, the second time I watched it, I didn't like it as much as I did the first time. I just found it a bit boring, to be honest. And again, I'm not a Bond fan, so people are probably going to hate me for saying a Bond film is boring, but it is quite boring.
Well, as a person who is a Bond fan, who has all the Bond films, I have to say that I do completely disagree with you there on it being a boring film. I've seen it 3 times now, and I've loved it more. I've enjoyed more and more. I got more from it each time. I thought that I don't think it is the best Bond film. I think a lot of people who are crying that out they're getting caught up in it a lot. Which, don't get me wrong, it kind of does do that. But that's being very generous to it. I think that Casino Royale is still the best Bond film that there's been to date, but I think this is pretty close to being that good. And the thing is that what's different about it is that compared to a lot of the other Bond films, it's a lot more personal of a Bond film, which we won't get into for reasons here because that kind of does spoil the last half of the film. But for me, it works a lot better. Daniel Craig is fantastic as ever in it. And it's just a lot more better film as a Bond, especially than Quantum of Solace, which was just downright awful.
Yeah, I'm just reading Dalek Sexting here. It's in relation to Adele's songs. She does the Skyfall opening song. And he said, the line, "Let it crumble," made Adele start thinking about apple crumble, and she started drooling. This explains the voice in which she sings the song, "Let the Sky Fall." So she's dreaming about apple crumble. Dalek, your mind is strange. It works in very weird ways. Yeah,
he does have very weird sort of comments and stuff. Let's move on to Hit and Run, which is directed by David Palmer and Dak Shepard. Dak Shepard also wrote the film and appears in the film as a guy named Charles Bronson. Now, there's a reason for him being named that. He's currently living in a small town, sort of out of the way. He's there with his girlfriend Annie, who's played by Kristen Bell, who is going to have an interview with her boss. She's actually a sort of a teacher at a low end college, and her teacher sets her up with an interview for a job in a big Los Angeles college. The whole thing is that she's sort of hesitant to go for that, and sort of not sure about doing that because of the fact that what she's aware of that no one else is that Charles's true identity is of another man who is actually on the run and sort of hiding out in witness protection from people that he witnessed and he prosecuted. He was a witness for the prosecution in Los Angeles. Some years before. The whole thing is sort of kicks off then that he decides, because of the fact that he doesn't want to be the one who's responsible for holding her back and stopping her from sort of being in a job that she'll love and enjoy and advancing her career, he decides that he is then going to go back to Los Angeles with her and leave witness protection. And he decides that he's going to be the one to drive her in a car that he's had hidden in his shed for the last few years. Here's a clip.
It sounds like it's going to break.
No, it does not sound like it's going to break. It sounds like it has 700 horsepower. All right, you're being a girl. Believe me, all dudes love how this car sounds.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm in a 700 horsepower dude lure.
That's right.
Apologies, I had no idea. You definitely told me this car was broken. It was when I was talking about turning the shed into a craft room.
Yeah?
Yeah, so why did you say that?
Why did I say that?
Holy shnikes, look at this. There's a parrot driving this car. A driving parrot. Oh man, I'm gonna be rich. I found the only driving parrot.
All right, I was hiding it in the shed because you're not supposed to bring anything with you. I mean, especially not a car. But I spent a year and a half building this thing with my dad, and I didn't want to just not have it anymore.
You wanted to bring it because you built it with your dad?
Yeah. We weren't the hottest communicators, but we kind of worked well together. So he was into off-road racing, and we did that together. And then he was into building old cars, and we did that.
So you have the whole thing of him then taking her back to Los Angeles. You have the whole thing of his U.S. Marshal, his agent from Witness Protection, played by Tom Arnold, who is then trying to catch him up because of the fact that he's just gone off on his own without actually leaving Witness Protection properly and may be in danger. You have the character of Gil, played by Michael Rosenbaum, who is the ex-boyfriend of Annie and is still sort of chasing after her, trying to get her to go with him instead of going out with Charles. And you've got the character of Alex back in Los Angeles, who's a member of a crew who is now out of prison, and played by Bradley Cooper, who is the one who is actually after Charles for revenge of him being sent to prison. So the thing is here with that, I mean, that clip that you heard there is it's not an especially funny clip. It's just the two of them talking in the car, which there is a couple of scenes like that, and there's a lot of scenes with the two of them together which go like that, which are quite, honestly, quite well written. They're quite decent dialogue between a couple. It kind of feels a bit real. Now, here's the thing of it, though, that when it's not the scenes with the two of them, when it's the scenes with other people, like Tom Arnold's U.S. Marshal character, or with the scenes with Bradley Cooper's character, it does this really weird sort of comedy thing, and it's kind of takes itself not quite so seriously, and it's kind of like it's not able to decide between which of the two kinds of films it wants to be. If you were to take both the two sets of sequences and cut them separately apart and have two films that ran for sort of 45 minutes each, you would find that both of them work on their own, but when they're together, doesn't quite work as intended. There are bits in it where, I mean, the thing is, for a comedy film, there is a kind of a rule where you need to get at least sort of 6 good laughs out of the film. And the thing is with this, there was no problem with that. I laughed throughout this at several bits here and there, and more than the required 6 times. And they were good laughs. They weren't lowest common denominator humour. Although there was one bit in it involving a sort of a swingers party, which is really in bad taste. But I mean, the rest of the film, there's sequences in it which genuinely are well written. Some of them are quite genuinely funny. Some of them are quite genuinely realistic, and they work very well, just not all together.
You know what? When we always seem to complain that we don't have very much time or whatever, I think this week we're probably going to finish early.
Well, I could go on about Hit and Run a bit more.
No,
don't. I could go on about Skyfall, definitely a lot more. But
no. Tower Block. Now, I think I've drawn the better straws this week, because all the films that I've had to review, their premises are so simple. Tower Block, it's directed by James Nunn and Ronnie Thompson. It's a small little British film, and it's written by James Moran. Now, if I didn't get the writer in, somebody would kill me. It's Stuart from Page to Screen. He would kill me if I didn't get the writer in it. So
he's a fan.
Yeah. So it stars Sheridan Smith, who plays Becky. And at the start of the film, you see this guy who gets, you might as well say, assaulted really badly. She tries to intervene. She then ends up getting assaulted herself. You find out that the guy was in fact murdered. A year down the line, the Tower Block seems to have gone on with their lives of sorts. There is a character who's played by Jack O'Connell, who plays Curtis, who's sort of like, he's there to take money off them, and you might as well say supposedly give them protection, but he doesn't do that. He just takes the money off them, and he's very violent about that. And even though he's supposed to protect them, something happens. A sniper is on the building across from where this building is, and he's taken the people out one by one. Supposedly he might have a connection with the lad who died a year previously. He set up traps in this Tower Block building itself to try and kill the people in there. He just wants revenge. Now, that's not giving anything away at all, because it is in the trailer, and That's the problem with Tower Block, though. The premise is so simple that you can predict what's going to happen next, how it flows. You predict the flow of the film. But that's not to say this is not a bad film, because it is actually a pretty decent film. The directors know their limits. They know when not to cross the line. Because in a couple of weeks' time, we'll be reviewing Storage 24. Now, the director of that, he has a problem with the films that he does. Johannes Roberts, who's directed Storage 24, he's a director who tries to do something above with what the limits that he's given. Now, James Nunn and Ronnie Thompson know the limits that they've got. They've got to set the film in this tower block. They don't have a big budget, like, say, maybe's Attack the Block, where they're able to add aliens in it and make it a bit more interesting in that state. They have to make it a bit more of a contained film. And even though some of the characters are horrible, Jack O'Connell, especially as Curtis, he's good at playing a horrible, nasty character like this. If I remember correctly, it was in Eden Lake, and he was a horrible, horrible person in that movie. Sheridan Smith, surprisingly, she's not bad. She shows that she has a feistier side to her character. She builds up more in, like, she takes the lead practically in the film itself, and she's sort of, in a way, like a British Ellen Ripley. Now, that's sad to see her, but she does. She has the empowerment of Ellen Ripley, not against aliens, just against this guy who's trying to kill them. Russell Tovey.
I just had this thought in my head of that famous line, "Get away from her, you bitch." But it's like, "Get away from her, you bitch." It's kind of like, just South London accent. Oh my god.
Yeah, so I know it's an interesting example, but it sort of works. Russell Tovey's in the film. He plays Paul, and Russell Tovey is really good in anything that he does. He's a really good actor. He plays sort of like a timid character who doesn't build in confidence. He's his confidence is completely shot, no pun intended. But the film itself is not bad for a British film. There is a few good set pieces in the movie, and it flows quite well, and it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this back at the cinema because I had the chance. Didn't get a very big release, but it was showing to me that I was able to see it at the time, and I was again also genuinely surprised by just how decent a film it is. It's not a perfect film, but it is. I mean, it's a low budget film, but it's a low budget British film, and it's not a bad film. It's a good film. It's quite suspenseful, and there's good tension throughout it. And I mean, you've not got award-winning performances in it, but everyone sort of holds their own in it. There's nobody in it that's weak, and there are moments in it that are actually quite sort of, oh god,
violent.
Shocking. Yeah, and they're quite. Would you say they sort of hit home quite a bit as well?
Because it is a British film, and where it is set down in London in a huge, massive tower block, and you do get them tower blocks still now. And so it'll hit home even more. But yeah, I liked it. It's a good film.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a surprise. If you like decent British films, this is one that's worth checking out for you, because it's just got everything that it needs in it, and it works.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing though, it seems to be quite difficult to get hold of on DVD and Blu-ray. You might be able to get it in supermarkets, but places like HMV, because they're having trouble at the moment, they've only seemed to stock Skyfall this week, so I don't think you'll be able to get it from HMV. Try and find it on somewhere like a Netflix to try and order it from them, but you should be able to find it in a supermarket. But go and buy it.
You'll get it on a lot of the online ones with it, because then they'll do it on order from their stockists. So, yeah. I mean, they should be able to find it in somewhere. Okay, on to All Good Things, which is a drama written and directed by... it was directed by Andrew Jarecki. It's written by Marcus Hinchley and Mark Smerling. Now, it's based on true events that did happen from running between sort of the 1970s up to the early 2000s. The name has been changed in it, but it's basically around a character, the main character played by Ryan Gosling, who plays David Marks, who is the son of a sort of a property tycoon family, a family that owns a lot of buildings. They actually own not the properties, but really the buildings in places like New York and Times Square. And he is sort of at the start of the movie is just sort of fresh, sort of just out early on in life, just out of school, looking at his opportunities and such, when he meets a woman named Katie, played by Kirsten Dunst. And the two of them end up sort of entering into a romance and eventually then getting married, and go off to try and live their life on their own and sort of have their own sort of life away from his family business. Now, his family's business is run by his father, Sanford Marks, played by Frank Langella, who is sort of the guy he is not the most welcoming of fathers or the most loving of fathers. He's very sort of unsupportive, even though the way he sees everything is the way he equates money with love. So he'll lavish something in money and to consider that his way of showing his love for someone. And he's been sort of financing David and Katie's life as they've actually moved to a small town area. They built up a small little shop when they're running it, and he turns up for a visit. Here's a clip.
Oh, David, look who's here.
Oh, speak of the devil. Your grandfather didn't come hand in hand to ask me to join the firm. It was understood. I understood it. Your brother understands it, and you do too.
We're happy here, okay?
I'm subsidizing that.
Yeah, only until we get settled.
Settled? You think she's happy here?
Isn't she?
You think she had this dump in mind when she left Mineola, when she laid eyes on you? No. She had more in mind, and she deserves better. She's a beautiful woman. It's like your mother.
Thanks for visiting.
Thank you, honey. I better get back to work. How you think my son can afford to live like this?
So the film is focusing on this whole thing of this relationship between him and between David and Katie, and then also the relationship between David and his father. And there's also an ongoing thing of that there is an issue in his past, sort of a family secret that's been sort of kept hidden, and details of that become revealed later on as well. It's a really odd film because of the fact that you've got great performances from everyone involved here. I mean, Ryan Gosling in particular is great in the lead role. Kirsten Dunst is great in the scene she's in there. Frank Langella is absolutely brilliant. He's really sort of a cold person, as you heard in that clip. He's sort of he's ungiving. He doesn't sort of give a lot, but he's very cold in his performance and the way he treats his son, and his son's in the whole film. And it's a really weird sort of, I guess you could say, a thriller. But the unfortunate thing is that, I mean, because it spans this time of these sort of 30 years, is that not a lot really happens. And unfortunately for the film's running time, which it's an hour and 40 minutes long, it's really just unfortunately it's just boring. It just doesn't go anywhere. There's this whole thing of that it cuts back and forth between the events that you're seeing in order, and then you see the present day where there's a sort of a court hearing going on as well, and a voiceover of this court proceedings as you're seeing events happening in the past. But it doesn't really make for an interesting watch, and it really should. There's great performances there. It just doesn't go anywhere. Anything to say, Stuart? No?
I've not seen it, so I can't.
I know you've not seen
it.
I know you've not seen it, but I know that you, like me, you are sort of growing into a bit of a fan of Ryan Gosling, because I mean you've seen some of his films, and would you not say? I mean, he's a great actor. I mean, this film was taken a while to come out. This film was from 2010 originally, so it's taken a while to come out. It's a small film, but he's great in the film. He gives a great performance. So if anyone is interested in seeing a film for just the performances, then check it out. But if you want something that's really going to be engrossing and a good watch, this isn't going to fit the bill. It really isn't, which is a shame. Well, that's it for the new releases this week. What we've got now, you've got your TV movie of the week.
Yeah, it's just to show people that I do like comedies.
That's why you picked it. Okay, I wondered why.
Yeah, there were. I went through and I had a look, see what films were on TV from now until. Well, I try not to pick a film that's on a Monday night because I don't want to clash it with us. But from Tuesday up till Sunday, and I had a good look through to find out what was on, and there was some really, really good films to choose from. Actually, quite a bit to choose from. But then I thought, Because a lot of people get on my back because they say I don't like comedies. And even, I'm on a course at the moment. I'm doing a retail course at the moment. And the guy who's doing the course says that I've got an angry look on my face all the time. I'm an angry person. I'm not an angry person. But yeah, I went with Hot Shots. Hot Shots is on Channel 4 on February the 22nd at 11:10. Now, it stars Charlie Sheen in the film. And he plays the character Topper Harley. He plays a couple of other characters in the movie, and all Hot Shots is just about he's a fighter pilot, and a lot of comical things happen in the movie. It's best to watch the film rather than it being explained around. And if you've not seen I would go on to say Top Gun because it is a spoof on Top Gun, isn't it? If you've not seen Hot Shots, then there's something seriously wrong with you because it is a really funny, absolutely slapstick movie in the guise of things like Airplane, etc. But
back before they started going really downhill.
Yeah, with things like Scary Movie and stuff like that. Yeah, this was when slapstick really worked, and even the sequel is still funny. It's not as good as the original, but the sequel is still funny. It's just a funny film, and if you want to watch a movie where it'll make you smirk, Channel 4, 11:10 on Friday the 22nd for Hot Shots.
Okay, quick bunch of shout-outs for friends of the show. We have the followingthenerd.com who are do a live show on Thursday nights at 9 o'clock. Stuart will be on there every week as well doing the UK Top 10. You have the From Page to Screen, which is from page, the number 2, and then screen.com, which you're also every Sunday night, is it?
Yeah. We record it Sunday night, but I think it goes out like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, okay, as long as it's not Monday. You have then thegamescast.com, which, as you heard earlier with the ad, they're on Friday nights at 9 o'clock. The Lolacourse has a website still, which is lolacourse.co.uk. They will be back in April, I believe. Dalek Sex is in chat, so he can quickly confirm that to us. They're having a one-off special for the end of their season, sometime beginning of April. And also you can follow our website, check up on us there, mondaymovieshow.co.uk, which does have reviews and such and features going up on there regularly as well, so do feel free to check out on there, and you can contact us through the site as well. There's details on there about our Twitter account, which is at Monday Movie Show, and you've got myself is at AHDVD, Stuart is at Cryptic Tadpole, and you can find us on Facebook, iTunes and YouTube as well. That's it for this week's show. Movie of the week?
Nothing. Avoid everything that I've reviewed. So apart from Tower Block is the best thing out this week in my opinion. It's not a bad film, but I just
what about Side by Side? I mean, I'm saying Side by Side for anyone who's into films and knows about and wants to like that kind of thing about the making of films. That's worth checking out. But other than that, I think I'd have to say Beautiful Creatures. I think that's going to be my movie of the week for the general audience, which I'm probably going to get a lot of unsparaging remarks made regarding that one, I think, from people that like Dalek Sex in the chat, going by what he said earlier. But yeah, Beautiful Creatures, I think. So until next Monday at 7:30, when we'll be back again reviewing things like the new Wachowski movie, Cloud Atlas, and also there's the new horror movie Mama out as well. Till next Monday, 7:30. Good night.
Bye.